Today on the show, we're taking a look at the political machine, Pikmin 2, Sly 2 Band of Thieves, and in Versus, it's ESPN NFL 2K5 against Madden NFL 2005. Some of the games we look at on Reviews on the Run are intended for a mature audience. Please pay attention to each game's ESRB rating. All right, let's get this party started.
Political party?
The political party. We're going to talk about the political machine from Ubisoft for the PC. What'd you think of this one?
This is a turn-based strategy game.
Well, basically, this is Risk, but with politics. You're not getting into wars, per se.
Well, yeah,
you're getting into a political war on the U.S. map. And you can take any of these different kinds of candidates. So you've got a whole bunch of Democratic candidates.
All real people, by the way.
Real people, but
John
they're sort of...
Kerry, Arnold Schwarzenegger's in the game.
For the Republican side, you've got Bush and Cheney and Condoleezza Rice.
You're trying to win the states, and the way you do that is by giving speeches, and you have to raise money, and you have to buy the votes.
Well,
can you buy the votes?
You can do some sneaky stuff, but you can have speeches, you can get some ad campaigns out there.
Radio, television, print. The great thing about this game, I think the greatest part of it is that you have a bunch of different difficulty levels.
Yes,
they don't just give you 1 or 2 or 3 even.
Right.
There's a whole truckload. So you can literally start right at the very bottom and get yourself into the game. Then once you beat that, you can kind of edge yourself up.
You have to pick the right candidate. I mean, based on the military experience, their own political experience, their credibility, their intelligence, their religious backgrounds. And you can all that stuff is rated against each other.
And you can also pick your vice presidential candidate from a list of people.
The states each have their own sort of criteria and their own sort of wants and needs.
Florida, is important for Social Security because there's so many old people.
And medicine for everybody, you know. And
up in the Northeast, it's all about the environment.
All of that kind of stuff comes into play.
Welfare.
And you'll see that, you know, some states are sort of more... There's sort of a broader interest level where you have a whole list of things that you can make a platform on, and some of them are only interested in 3 or 4.
Yeah,
exactly.
And so you get to decide what you want. Do you want your ads to be focused on the war or on Social Security?
Right.
And it gives you what the Democrats and the Independents and the Republicans will think
with
by thumbs up or thumbs down.
Exactly.
Telling you, so you know, you want to try to go in and pick something with all thumbs up. Now, when I was playing this game, I felt that it was more of a budget title, though.
I was expecting it to be like that, though. I was expecting it to be kind of chintzy.
Me too.
But it was more fun than I thought I would have. You know, I jumped in, I was starting to enjoy myself, and I liked all the sort of intricacies in the game. A lot of it is sort of multiple choice and sort of obvious kind of answers and solutions to the puzzles that come up. But it's interesting to see the dynamics of how you take your candidate through the whole ropes there. And you also get a real sense of how much glad-handing is involved in winning these elections. You know, how many people you have to appease. A couple things really drove me nuts about the game. The music was just completely repetitive.
I thought the audio overall could have been a little better.
Yeah,
it was just, I think, just that it was lacking. There wasn't enough there. You know, they could have had a lot more sound effects for some of the stuff.
And the other thing too, the art style is
well, it's cartoony.
It's cool that they went in that way.
It's like mocking,
but it's
satirical.
Yeah, I wonder if that choice was
so they could get away with, you know, without getting Bush's everyone's permission.
Does it make for a stronger game going that way?
Satire, right?
Exactly.
So they can get under the law that
with
way.
something like this, which could have been very, very educational and very sort of
serious,
you know,
more
very serious.
Yeah.
I think maybe going in the other direction.
I agree with you.
Maybe going with photographs and sort of more realistic likenesses.
I think it would have been more intense.
I had a good time playing the political machine. I am going to give it 7 out of 10.
I'm giving it a 10.
No, you're not.
I know, 7.5. On the positive side, the content in the game is very timely. There's a lot of different strategies you can use to play the game, and there's a lot of difficulty settings which provide a good challenge.
On the negative side, the cartoony art style kind of undermines the impact of the game. The audio in the game is very disappointing, and overall, the gameplay feels a little bit simplistic and sort of what you'd find in a budget title. All right, don't go anywhere. We're coming right back with Pikmin 2. Games seriously.
What? We doing this now? I'm talking about Baseball Advance for the Game Boy Advance. Now, it's a game that THQ and Sega put out, and let me tell you, this is by far the best handheld baseball game ever put out on any system ever. Now, it has the old 2001 rosters in there, you know the year that the Yankees lost in Game 7 to the Diamondbacks. I'll be okay. But this game is amazing. It's challenging. You can play the entire season as well. And they have, you know, playoffs, and you can start from just playing playoffs and things like that. But I gotta tell you, it keeps stats of everything, including team stats and individual player stats. And if you break a record, it notifies you. You can play an all-star game. It has players of the month. The greatest, best baseball game you will ever find. I would have gave this game a 10.
Hey, welcome back. We're talking now about Pikmin 2. This one's from Nintendo for the GameCube.
Miyamoto.
I gotta tell you, I had a blast with this game. I had a
Yeah?
really good time with Pikmin 2. I was addicted to the gameplay, and the new additions in this game really drew me in. I think they've done a phenomenal job with Pikmin 2.
They certainly upgrade the production values,
Yes.
which is great to see. They
Loved it.
upgraded the cinematics, and the graphics overall in the game
Yeah.
are a huge upgrade.
Phenomenal.
I mean, the environments are really excellent.
I love the
They're
creatures.
pretty to look at.
I think the real innovation that they've done this year is they've given two characters to
Right.
play at the same time.
So now you have to switch back and forth between people, which, you know, it gets you thinking.
Yeah, it does. I mean, now you can actually go off on two separate kind of quests for
Right.
the little treasures or to take care of bad guys, and
Or-
you could bounce between them.
The Duracell batteries,
Well-
which I gotta be honest with you,
Lots of blatant product placement propaganda in this game.
and I was very surprised because
Yeah.
you never see this kind of stuff in Nintendo
Well,
games,
you do see lots of Nintendo branding in Nintendo games.
which is fine.
And that's definitely a part of this thing here, which is
Right.
cool. If you're a Nintendo fan, you get to see like Nintendo playing cards,
But-
and an old Game & Watch, and the thumb pad off of a broken NES controller. That stuff's cool.
The game itself is kind of like a cross between Lemmings, an RTS,
Yep.
and like Vikings, if you remember that
Lost
old game on
Vikings.
the,
I was
on the
gonna say
Super
that.
Nintendo.
And in
Lost
fact, I did
Vikings.
say that earlier to you, and you just ripped
And,
off my.
I stole
yeah,
his line.
I love when you do that.
But don't tell anyone.
Yes. No, it's exactly that's what it is. It's
Yes.
the perfect analogy. You combine Lemmings, Lost Vikings, add some RTS style challenges in
Right.
there.
Resource management almost it becomes
A little
tiny
but
bit.
this time, in this version of the game, though, in the sequel, it felt more like an adventure. You know, it didn't feel so much like object gathering from mission to mission all the way through. This time, it felt like a fuller, more detailed, more involved game. I also really liked the little encyclopedia kind of stuff where you could collect all this stuff and then take a look at it. Like, look at the monsters, look at all the little creatures that were chasing the Pikmin.
Now, I thought the best part of this game that they added this year, though, was the split screen
Yes.
multiplayer,
A little
which is
combat action.
exactly what a game like this needed, because now it becomes a whole new experience when you can play with someone else
Yep.
and you're, you know, working together or against each other, whatever. You know, now you've introduced a whole new element of fun.
Yeah.
It's Miyamoto game, but I honestly feel that we've seen better from Miyamoto.
Okay, understood. I mean, I would probably tend to agree with you. I think you know, his other games I enjoy
They're
more as
so
well.
much more in depth.
I believe
so much
that as
more
well.
deep.
But there is so much fun to be had in this thing, and lots of really cool experiences to have out there. If you're a GameCube fan, if you're a Miyamoto fan, this is definitely one to pick up for your cube. I'm giving Pikmin 2 8.5 out of 10.
I'm giving it a 10. No, I'm just kidding. I'm giving it a 7.
On the positive side, Pikmin 2 features two-player competitive or cooperative action. Having two characters to play with in the single-player mode adds a lot of cool new strategy. And I really like that encyclopedia where you can take a look at all the monsters and all the stuff you collect in the game.
On the negative side, we didn't appreciate the blatant product placement that much. The style of gameplay may not appeal to everyone. And even if you do like the style of gameplay, it may start to get a little tiresome.
Right after the break, we're talking about Sly 2 Band of Thieves. I have got Madden NFL 2005 for the GBA, and I have to say I'm quite impressed by EA's new rendition on the handheld here. If you're like me, you probably have fond memories of the Super Nintendo and the Genesis versions of Madden, and those looked amazing when they were out, but I have to be honest, this looks better than those games ever did. The best looking element of the game definitely has to be the fields. The fields all look super high res. They look really clean. You can zoom in and out of them a little bit. You can actually change the camera angle. And it does kind of give you a closer emulation of that 3D vibe that we've been getting in more recent Madden games. But again, it's severely outclassed visually by what you're seeing on the console version. So don't expect miracles on the GBA. But the gameplay is actually quite miraculous. It's really quite fun to sit down and get into the seasons and get into these games and play through the Madden experience while you're on the road. This is a solid game. Madden 2005, I'm going to give it an 8.5 out of 10. We are back, and we are talking about Sly 2 Band of Thieves. This one is from Sony for the PlayStation 2. What did you think of this one, my friend?
I'll tell you, I loved the first Sly Cooper. I thought it had
very
an
good game.
amazing art style and graphic style.
Yep.
And I gotta tell you, it's like they built on that. It's similar to what they did in Pikmin 2. It really does feel like an awesome upgrade
Yes.
to the original game. I mean, the style in this game is just unbelievable. I feel like I'm playing a cartoon.
What they did do this time is that they expanded your environment substantially. In the first game, I found myself feeling
It's
a
almost
little
like
bit,
a track.
yeah, a little bit on the rails.
The old Crash
sometimes.
Bandicoot
Exactly.
games.
You couldn't go everywhere. This
Whereas
one,
this one, you get to go on the rooftops.
you get a little more sort
Up,
of spread out.
down,
and
different
then
levels.
The world's connected. You go to different places like in Paris and India and into the jungle and stuff like that, and you'll have giant elephants with searchlights on them follow you
Unbelievable.
around. You'll see the sky, like the clouds are all moving in the sky, and you'll see helicopters floating around in the distance and searchlights everywhere.
Yep.
And you could bust open and change like some of these searchlights to like Sly Cooper beacons,
Right.
like the bat signal, but it's the Sly signal.
The controls are extremely simple to get into right off the top. The combat system's great. There's first-person modes where you have to crawl under tables or
Yes.
crawl through vents. Everything in the environment is
Lots of
completely destructible.
Yeah.
You know, and to get health and power-ups and
Earning
coins.
the coins.
Gotta get the coins.
Gotta get the coins.
Now, but at least they're not floating in the air for no reason.
Right.
You actually bust
Well,
stuff and then they
there's
they
bottles
barf
floating
out
in the
at
air.
you.
There's bottles floating in the air, and you got to collect it. They give you
Those
the
are the clues,
clues.
right?
Collect 30 of those, and you can unlock the vault and collect the secret little thing, and then leave a little Sly note there. It's very cool.
Now, what
I like
about the
that.
music and the
Love the
audio
music.
is unbelievable.
Love the
It's this
music.
whole bloom, 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 bloom.
Yep.
You know, very Spy Caper-like.
This game has style to burn, really. I mean,
Unbelievable.
the guys at Sucker Punch are doing a phenomenal job at really making a cohesive narrative in video games. They're really setting the bar. I mean, these
Totally.
guys are right up par with the Naughty Dog team and the Insomniac guys. And so you talk about a triple threat there. Sony's publishing Ratchet and Clank, Jack, and this game in the same year. It's pretty insane.
I
man.
tell you, I like this game and this franchise better than Jack and Ratchet and Clank personally, because of the style,
Yep.
because of the story. You
Really,
can take
really
pictures,
fun game.
you know,
You take
there's-
pictures.
you take pictures and get reconnaissance back and stuff.
Yep.
I mean, it almost felt like a Beyond Good and Evil in a
Yes.
way, because you could do so many different things. You could go kind of anywhere, you know.
Sly was a very cool, fun game when it came out, but this is the real deal. This is a massive improvement. I'm giving Sly 2 Band of Thieves 9.5 out of 10.
I'm giving it, wait for it, a 10.
Oh, man.
On the positive side, the intriguing storyline, the amazing style, and the incredible production values are top-notch. The controls, the action sequences, the help system, and the overall map is really fun and easy to get into. And finally, there's just a lot of different things to do in this game.
On the negative side, couldn't really find anything that I could pinpoint that I had a problem with. It just didn't feel perfect to me, but obviously it felt perfect to Tommy. Today in Hardware, we're going to be talking about Nyko's I-Type 2.
Your Type 2?
No, the product is called I-Type 2.
You Type 2.
Yes, for the PlayStation 2. And what it is, it's a joystick keyboard combination for all you people that like to play role-playing games and games that require you to type in some text. while you're playing your games.
Why would anyone want to do that?
Well, if you're playing Final Fantasy 11, for example, you're online, you've got hundreds of friends out there that you want to talk to, you want to start typing in conversations and stuff.
You can't talk to them, you got to type to them.
You got to type to them. What I liked about the iType 2 is that it incorporates keyboard functionality and regular controller functionality into a device that's not much larger than the standard DualShock analog controller.
But the problem is that it is, in fact, larger than the dual analog set.
It is larger.
So much so
Well,
that, you know, you're kind of like,
it's about,
this is really weird when you have the controller in your hand.
It's about that big.
Now, this controller, one cord goes into the controller bit, and the other cord goes into the USB.
Yes.
But the thing is that, you know, if I am playing a Final Fantasy 11 or any other game where I need a keyboard, why am I not? I would just get a keyboard.
Well, that's the thing. Have you tried playing with a keyboard and a controller?
Well, yeah, you have the keyboard next to you, but you have the controller right here, and then you just do this and that. I don't see a sense for this.
I like it.
All
I'm
right.
going to recommend Nyko's iType 2. It's getting the big R from me.
It's getting the big N from me for not recommending, I guess. I don't know, but I just don't see the sense.
On the positive side, the Nyko iType 2 isn't that much larger than the regular DualShock analog controller. It has all the functionality of a regular-sized keyboard, and when you type things in, it has that nice click feedback, so you know that you're typing stuff.
On the negative side, this controller is just too wide for me. The letters on the keypad don't light up, so if you're playing in the dark, you're pretty much screwed. And I'm sorry, for the one game that you need a keyboard to play anyway, I'm just going to use a normal-sized keyboard.
After the break, it's ESPN and Madden going head-to-head in Versus. Hey, welcome to Versus. We've got two football games squaring off against each other. This is an annual tradition for us. It's ESPN NFL 2K5 versus Madden NFL 2005. We looked at both of them on the Xbox. Of course, they're also available for the PlayStation 2. Madden's on the Cube as well. All right, let's come back here, Freak. Let's start with graphics. What did you think of the visuals for these two titles?
Well, I gotta say that, you know, Madden's getting all the hype this year, but ESPN is the better game graphically, you know?
No question.
From the jerseys to the animations is what really freaked me out. I mean, the way they run around and they cut back, it's so much more smooth, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. The facial stuff on the ESPN players is fantastic as well.
The presentation, you know, when you see a play go down in ESPN, you know, the screen, Sunday Night Football, the whole thing.
They have all the ESPN branding, all of that, all the swooshes and the cool transition effects and stuff. Yes, it's very nice. I will say, though, that the speed of Madden and the fluidity of the players in Madden, I preferred that to ESPN. I found that some of the plays went down a little bit too slow.
I got to disagree with you.
I like the speed of Madden. I thought it was a little bit quicker to get into, a little quicker playing, and it seemed a little more fluid to me. Graphics-wise, you're giving it all to ESPN?
ESPN all the way.
I am too, but I'm not saying that Madden's a slouch. And I will say that because...
neither am I. I'm just saying ESPN's better.
All right. Audio-wise, how do these two games stack up?
Audio-wise, it's very close. They're both very well done. The commentating is very well done on both aspects.
Yep.
Robinson catches this one and tries to get free, and touchdown.
I'll tell you, if you're looking for someone to watch on defense, take a look at what he does all game long.
But I really like the customization of ESPN. I mean, you can actually go in and choose the music you want after touchdowns, the music you want for, you know, kickoff, and all this kind of stuff.
Soundtrack-wise, though, the nod goes to Madden, man. I mean, the EA Tracks has brought a great roster of songs in this game. It's great to listen to that stuff.
But football audio isn't about songs and licensed
music. Yes, it is.
You know? So
I
when
totally
I talk
disagree.
about audio,
I disagree.
When you're talking about audio, it's all about the on-field sound, the commentators. I don't care what licensed music.
I do.
I'm not going to grade a football's audio based on EA's, you know, has more money to spend on licensed music.
So you like ESPN?
Again, they're both great games. Don't get me wrong. They both do it extremely well. I'm not saying Madden does it bad. I'm just saying that ESPN, I think, does it a notch higher this year.
This one's really tough. I think they're both great. I'm going to give it to Madden. All right. In the gameplay department, the most important department, how do you think these two stack up?
I got to say that this year, ESPN made a better football game gameplay-wise, especially the running game, because in Madden it's nearly impossible to get any kind of running game going. Now, the thing that Madden does do
I don't
great-
think that's true. I think what's happened is with Madden this year, they've really amped up the defense, so you can't shatter the defense. It's a much better AI when they're trying to block you from going for the TDs. They will stop your runs.
Now, one thing I will say that I loved in Madden, though, is the fact that the receivers this year actually will take different patterns
Yes, and the play
depending on
option
the
routes and stuff
so
like that.
that's really
fantastic.
awesome.
And what they've done this year, too, is you have defensive playmaking calls and abilities that way, too, so you can change things just before we're going to the snap. It's a lot more solid on the defensive end.
And we also have to talk about the online, because this year, you
Right.
know, Madden has the online for the Xbox Live.
They're both online on both consoles. You know, I don't think either game disappoints in the amount
Of course not.
depth
Of course
that you're
not.
going to get.
And again, I don't want to seem like I'm hating on Madden at all. Madden's
No,
a
it's a great game.
I'm just saying that people, you got to pick up ESPN. I'll tell you another thing.
It's the $20 deal, man.
ESPN is $20.
$20
understand what I'm
US,
saying?
that's unbelievable. It's a
Even
great
at
deal.
$50, it's a better game than Madden. But ESPN at $20, I mean, come on, you got to have both, I guess. I don't know.
So overall, you're going to say ESPN's a better game?
Overall, I mean, people are going to be surprised and freak out, but I'm telling you, trust me on this. Go out, pick up ESPN if you have Madden already. It's a better game, in my opinion.
ESPN is a better game for the money, but I had a little bit more fun in all of these football games playing Madden on the PS2. But again, I would recommend ESPN for the Xbox if that's the system that you play on. What are you going to give ESPN NFL 2K?
I'm giving ESPN a 9.5.
I'm giving it a 9.5 as well. What are you going to give Madden?
A 9.
I'm giving Madden a 9.5. So I guess the winner this year is ESPN NFL 2K5.
By a little bit.
By a hair, $20 makes a big
Both
difference.
great games. I mean, both games, 9s or higher from both of us. So, I mean, you know, it's great.
Today on the show, we took a look at the political machine for the PC. There's some pretty cool, timely content in this one, but we really didn't like the cartoony art style. On the GameCube, we looked at Pikmin 2. This game delivers a breath of fresh air in the gameplay, but we didn't really like the product placement. On the PlayStation 2, we looked at Sly 2, Band of Thieves. Tommy and I love the top-notch gameplay and presentation of this game. We had a really tough time finding any problems with this one. In Versus, it was ESPN NFL 2K5 against Madden NFL 2005. Two great football games. It's always tough to call, but this time we liked ESPN a little bit better. You know, it sneaks up on you. You don't think it's going to be as fun as it is, and it is, but I understand.
Kind of like a burp or a fart. It just sneaks up on you.